This is the Professor. I'm going to do a quick gameplay review of the Third Birthday, which is the newest installment of the Parasite Eve series. Parasite Eve series, for any of those who don't know, started off on the PlayStation 1, where we had Parasite Eve 1 and 2. Parasite Eve 1 was more of a classical RPG, while Parasite Eve 2 followed more of a Resident Evil style of gameplay that focused more on puzzles than it did on other items, while still having some RPG elements to it. But the Third Birthday is the newest game, coming out for the PSP early this year. I'm going to be reviewing it on the Japanese version, on the Japanese format for the PSP. And I'm going to cover a few of the controls, I'm going to cover a few of the new gameplay aspects that they added to it, and we're just going to see, and you can figure out what you decide and what you think about it after watching. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the gameplay. As you can see, this is a normal third-person shooter right here. The graphics are quite nice for the PSP, very nice. It's a third-person cover shooter, much like the new games coming out on the Xbox 360 that are becoming more popular. You can hold 4 weapons in your inventory at any given moment, and by holding down the L trigger, you'll open up the weapon screen, and you can switch in between weapons just as such by selecting the corresponding letter, or not letter, but button. You'll see in the lower left-hand corner your grenade count, your weapon you have equipped, and your ammo. And then over in the right-hand corner, you'll see the life bar and the liberation bar. We'll get to the liberation bar here in a little bit. So, let's go ahead and just go in. Okay, by pressing the R button, you'll be able to lock onto targets. Now I'll get a little bit closer. By using the directional buttons when you're locked on, you'll be able to go back and forth between targets, normal first or third-person shooter style. Square button will do your attacking, which, yeah, that's really nothing in particular impressive on that part. One of the things you'll notice when you play this game is that it is a very linear format, which in comparison to the old Parasite Eves, that is something definitely different. But it's not too bad for the PSP. It works quite well, because, well, I'm not very surprised that they didn't do a overblown game on the PSP. Now, as for your ammo count, you'll see that I'm down to 20 rounds in my clip. I could either finish firing off until it gets to 0 and Aya will automatically reload, or I could just do a quick press of the L button and it'll reload for me. The camera is easily controlled by the directional buttons. You can pan it to the left and right, up and down, and by quick tap of the R button, you can auto center the camera. So that's quite smooth, quite nice. It works well for the PSP. Okay, now for a few of the items that they added in for gameplay, let me go into the next area. Okay, you'll see where it says dived over on the side above where it says Thomas Aria. Now on this game, you're able to do quite of a Matrix style thing. You'll see where it says George Malls. Now if I hold down the triangle button, it goes into this screen, which is the overdrive screen. And you'll see where it has George selected. By releasing the triangle button, I jump into their body. That's called overdrive. It allows you to jump into different soldiers on the field, and as long as there's another soldier on the field, you will be able to survive. You can also do the same thing with enemies by doing enough damage to them, where you'll see the triangle button show up, and by doing so, you'll jump into them, deal damage, and on a regular occasion you'll come out with items called DNA. But that's the overdrive function. By using it, you can jump back and forth in between characters or soldiers that are on the map freely. And you'll notice whenever you go in that you have a weapon displayed. Now on your weapon map, or a weapon screen, you'll see where you have 4 items. Now the one on the bottom is actually controlled by what character you're currently in. So as you see, George has a handgun. So when I go over, the weapon on the bottom is a handgun. While Thomas has a assault rifle. I go across, there's an assault rifle on the bottom. And another item is the character you're currently in will control how much HP you have. So if say Aya had taken a lot of damage and she was down to half of her HP or her life, I could switch over to George's and she would take that amount of life. So that would actually go back and forth. Now, whenever you're crouching behind cover, you will automatically regenerate HP or life slowly, unless you have cheat codes after beating the game where you can actually increase that. Another item I need to show you is the liberation mode. Okay, here we go. As you can see, my liberation gauge is almost completely full. By dealing damage to your opponent, you are able to fill up your liberation gauge. Now, when that is filled up, you will be able to go into a mode called Liberation Mode. You'll see that it is now flashing on my screen. By pressing triangle and circle at the same time, you'll go into Liberation Mode. In this mode, you'll teleport around, and you will automatically dodge attacks. Your attacks become faster and a whole lot more powerful, all of your attacks. Now, it is a very short-lived ability on the game for Liberation Mode to last, but it is a lifesaver. It is the trump card in a battle. One more item that needs to be shown is the Crossfire. You'll see where it has the linkage bar at the bottom. Oh, well, he died, so I can't really use him as an example. Give me just a second. Okay. You'll see where the linkage bar is filling up at the bottom. When there's other soldiers in the area who are able to target the same opponent or same target that you are targeting, when you lock onto them, if you don't attack or get hit, that linkage bar will automatically fill up. Now, when it's full, when you press square, every soldier you have on the field who is able to attack that target will attack him. That is a great way to do all damage and open it up for a overdrive into your opponent. Great way to build up the liberation bar. So the linkage and the crossfire ability is something you're going to use a lot. And for the most part, that's it for my really short review of Parasite Eve the Third Birthday. And what I'm going to give you now is I'm just going to do some gameplay, and I'm going to let you see some good gameplay throughout the game for a little bit. So I hope you enjoy the review. I find it to be a very strong entry into the Parasite Eve series. The only problem I have is that I really cannot do a full review of it because I don't have the English version yet. Nobody does, and I can't tell you what the storyline is like. So whenever it comes out, I might just do so. But I hope you enjoy the review and pick this up whenever you get a chance after it comes out here, hopefully in February. And have a wonderful evening.
バベルは成長の過程で無数の区画を作ることが知られている。
前に進むにはイステッドを殲滅するかオーブを破壊するしかない。
Oh, and one more thing I need to point out is the level of fan service they put into this game is just extraordinary. After all, just look at this. Protective gear, as they call it in this game. Like you have the normal, it's a white jacket over a black top and jeans, or a black top with jeans, or a maid dress, or a business suit, or a Santa outfit. And the wonderful thing is, as you can see with the apron or the maid outfit and the business suit, the more damage you take in game, the worse your clothing will end up. But the worse your clothing ends up, the less it'll actually protect you in battle. It's quite funny, and yes, it is fan service, and there is a specific scene that is a little extra risque that has been put into this game that I'm not going to show you on here. If you want to see that, you'll have to get the game yourself and find that out and see it for yourself.